I bring the meeting to order. Roll call. Maria? Gary?
Present.
Amanda?
Present.
Rick?
Here.
I'm here. Rick, can you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. Please join me in the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Kylie, do we have any public comments?
Not pertaining to closed session.
Okay, I'm gonna go through what we're gonna do in closed session. Pupil personnel expulsion case, EXP 11, 22 to 23, STIP number 3, 22 through 23, and annual review, AR number 9, 22 through 23, and AR number 10, 22 to 23. Conference on litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, current litigation, 8 cases. COVID 19-07172, CIVDS 2011183, CIVDS 202299956, CIVDS 2023366, CIVSB 2113003, CIVSB 22098019, CIVSB 220303, CIVSB 2218676, Government Code Section 54954.5 and 54956.9, and E1 anticipated litigation, 7 cases, 2020 to 2015, 2021 2208, 2021 2213, 2022 23 through 05, 2022 23-06, 2022/2307, 2022/3208. Public employees, discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment, transfer, leave, title, certificated and classified employees. Public employee appointment, reassignment, retirement, reduction, and certificated and classified employees. Conference with labor negotiator, agency negotiator, Dustin Conrad, employee organization, Apple Valley Teachers Union. Conference with labor negotiator, agent negotiator, Dustin Conrad, employee organization, California School Employees, and the conference on with real property negotiator, Government Code 54956.8, negotiating parties, Matthew Schulenberg, Apple Valley Unified. And number 8, superintendent evaluation. Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're going in closed session. bring it to order. At this time, we'd like to have a moment of silence to remember Apple Valley students, Union School District students, Jamala Adams and Blaine Bachman. Thank you. Desert Knolls, we have Aubrey Weir and Ariane Hagan representing Desert Knolls. Eagles. That's cool.
Good evening, board members, cabinet, and members of the public. I'm Ariane Hagan, and this is Aubrey Weir. We are sixth grade students at Desert Knolls Elementary School, and we are here to tell you some of the things that we have been doing at Desert Knolls this year. Let me start by saying how exciting it has been to start our before and after school programs. We have been having so much fun doing esports, art, Spanish, gardening, and so much more. We have built birdhouses and made tasty treats and learned how to work as a team. My favorite thing so far has been esports. These classes have a great addition to our school day, and they are so much fun. Over the last few weeks, we have been working on these gifts for the board. We hope you enjoy them.
This is my first year in student council, and I am so excited to be representing our school. Student council and booster club have been working hard to keep us excited about coming to school. In October, we were busy with the Spirit Days for Red Ribbon Week, and we ended with our fall festival. It was so much fun, and there were so many exciting things to do. In December, we had another Spirit Week, and our kindergarten classes had a Christmas concert. Last week, we participated in Kindness Week. We had a Spirit Day for each day, and every grade level contributed to kindness around our campus. In class, we have been working hard to build our stamina and use strategies to solve real-world problems. We are improving our reading skills as we learn about the world around us and investigate the science in the world we live in. Most importantly, we are working on being part of our school community, showing respect and consideration for others.
Thank you for all your time and all you do to help our school. Have a great night.
Thank you. Where does it say that they only get 3 minutes on there? Okay. High Desert Premier Academy. Angelique, Daniel. Oh, yeah.
Good evening, President Bender, board members, and cabinet. I'm honored to stand before you all once again to inform you of the accomplishments and upcoming events of High Desert Premier Academy, and honored to bring you all a token of our appreciation. We hope you like them. On our shirts, we have embedded our logo of the 3 R's: respect, responsibility, and recover. We hope you wear them with pride. Before I start telling you about the wonderful things we have going on this month, I wanted to let you know how much we have grown this year. We are now a full OWL nation with 210 students on our campus, and we have so many new students learning and involving themselves daily. This leadership club is in full effect. After the student advisory meeting with Superintendent Nelson, we were able to create a leadership club that meets to discuss the student voice and open conversations about what students need on campus. And we are looking forward to meeting weekly to discuss improvements on campus and how we can bring students together. Thank you for hearing us out, Ms. Nelson. This month, our esports team is participating in Play Versus. We have 5 team members that will be competing with other schools on Wednesday in knockout rounds. Good luck, Owls. Another thing we're excited about sharing are the upcoming field trips we have planned. Our art classes and some of the independent study students will go to the Cheech Marine Museum, and some of the independent studies will be going to the Culture of Riverside Art Museum. They will also have the opportunity to see an aspect of Chicano art from multiple perspectives. Our students will have the opportunity to go to the Museum of Tolerance and learn about the history of the Holocaust and effects on many through interactive exhibits. And this month is Black History Month, power to the people. I'd like to acknowledge that not even 100 years ago, people of color were going unnoticed for the accomplishments that they had for centuries. It wasn't until 1926 when Negro History Week was established and was later expanded in 1976 as Black History Month. I am so thankful that we are allowed to express ourselves, and a lot of the things that we have accomplished are being noticed because it went unnoticed for so long. And I just like to thank you all for letting me come and talk to you tonight. I would also like to take time to recognize some of our own, and she was raised in San Bernardino County, and her name was Dorothy Ingram, and she was the first Black school teacher in San Bernardino County. Her brother Howard was also the first Black physician, and they both paved ways that many young African American youth will be allowed to follow. Thank you all for your time and support, and I look forward to speaking to you all again next month.
Good job. Granite Hills High School, Ashley Guzman.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Nelson, and attendees. My name is Ashley Guzman, Granite Hills GC President and Student Representative, and I'm joined by my Vice President, Itzel Favela. Starting off with Kindness Week wrap-up, administration has encouraged many of our students to participate in kindness challenges throughout the school, and said administration could even nominate students that have shown kindness in order to win prizes. Although it is the shortest month of the 12, February will be very busy, yet exciting month for us. Though we still have quite a way to go to the end of the year and graduation, planning for next school year has already begun. This week, AVID has began hosting AVID Shadow Days, where current 8th grade AVID students will be visiting from our feeder schools every Wednesday this month. This is a great opportunity to see their future high school campus, build connection with Granite Hills High School AVID students and teachers, and sit in on classes with upperclassmen. Counselors have been meeting with students to choose their classes for next year and providing many opportunities for students and families to learn more about our programs available to them, such as CCAP and AP Fair next week and Skate a Night on February 16th. We also had some of our students participate in Skills USA, and they all did amazing. Other events happening on campus are the Superintendent Student Advisory Council meeting on the 9th. Black History Month, we're having a Spirit Week for Black History Month from the 14th through the 17th. Cougars United on the 22nd. Black History Month presentation on the 23rd, where we will be having a guest speaker, and Parent Wellness meeting on the 27th. Staff and students are working hard to promote positive school culture on campus through building relationships and engaging activities. Campus life has been radiating positivity as the weather begins to warm up and spring sports are starting to begin. Golf has had informational meetings. Boys tennis is also still recruiting and setting up for their first game on the 15th, and track is also recruiting for their team as well. With the beginning of sports does come an end of winter sports. Just these past weeks, ASB has been busy helping out make posters and banners for all the senior nights we just had. Our seniors have played their last league games, yet some are now on to CIFs, which we are very excited for. All teams have hosted beautiful nights for their seniors and lots of love as they say goodbye. I hope you all have a safe rest of your night, and always remember, maroon and gray lead the way.
Apple Valley High, Cheyenne Valentine.
Thank you. Thanks. Good evening to the members of the board and attendees. My name is Cheyenne Valentine, the Apple Valley High School line president. I just want to give a shout out to Desert Knolls for doing such an amazing job at speaking. Now, to start off, our semester is at such a good start off, even though it's only 1 month in, and I'm so excited to tell you about everything that we've done so far. Last month, we started the year off with a bang. We held our annual Greek Week, with 4 teams competing, and Greek Week is where students and staff compete with multiple games throughout the week in a final dodgeball tournament. We also held a winter sports pep rally to celebrate all of the sports that are currently competing and encourage students to support them in their final weeks. Skills USA has begun for our CTE classes, and they're wrapping up their regional competitions this week. We're very proud of every student competing this year, and we wish them luck this weekend. We have also started planning Mr. Sun Devil, prom, for this year and next year, winter formal and buff and tough. ASB Line has held signups, meetings, and we're starting practices this upcoming week for Mr. Sun Devil. ASB junior and senior class have both visited their prom venues last month. And speaking of dances, our winter formal dance is this Saturday. So we're very excited to see students have an amazing time. Senior class has also started planning buff and tough, which is where junior and senior boys have a chance to play volleyball. Taking a look into our plans for this month, we will continue to work on winter formal and buff and tough. We also have our annual color run later this month, which always has such an impact on our community and gets everyone involved. Seniors have an exciting few weeks ahead of them with the senior meeting that discusses events like grad night and graduation and prom, which we're so excited for. We're also going to be revealing our prom venue and and theme, which has been held a secret for the past 2 years, and we're so excited. We're also going to continue to plan other events and work towards achieving our goals for the rest of the semester, such as every 15 minutes, MORP, winter formal, prom, graduation, and other senior activities, the color run, cultural fair, Mr. Sun Devil, Renaissance, Skills USA, and just making sure that every student can stay involved in campus by rechartering clubs and creating new clubs. Our winter sports pep rallies are coming to an end. Not pep rallies, just winter sports. And we're so proud of all of our student athletes for representing Apple Valley High School so well and having that true Sun Devil pride in them. Even though the official seasons are coming to an end, we hope that some of our teams will continue to compete in CIF. We already have had and are still having senior nights for the 12th grade athletes to recognize their dedication to their sports. We're also very excited to see what our spring season sports have in season for this year. To wrap things up, I want to say how grateful AVH is for all of your support throughout the year. Your encouragement inspires us students to do our best inside and outside of the classroom. We're off to a strong start for this spring semester, and we're looking forward to see what else you can accomplish in the next 4 months. And as always, Sun Devil pride is contagious. Thank you.
Thank you. Reports, California School Employees Association. Apple Valley Unified Teachers Association. Okay.
Good evening, Superintendent Nelson, board members, assistant superintendents, and audience. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little extra. I would like to congratulate Ms. Akpara for your DVL Honorary Award for doing that extra for our community. I'm sorry I was not able to attend. As Helen Keller stated, keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see a shadow. I may not have adopted a word for the new year, but I have chosen to always look at the positive. Although one of the busiest months that I have faced in this position, January was filled with many positives. I would like to thank Mr. Raleigh, Ms. Buchanan, and Mr. Arce for attending the CTA School Board Luncheon with me. It was exciting to see all the High Desert presidents and school board members enjoying an afternoon of good food and great conversation. Leslie and I were able to attend the governor's budget workshop and 2 follow-up CTA workshops where we learned that they are projecting a COLA of over 8%, funding for implementation of universal TK as well as the arts, and the governor is committed to continuing his support of education even when the state faces a possible budget shortfall. The presidents of the High Desert region were also able to bring all of the negotiation teams together for a day of collaboration and networking at the Hesperia CTA office. It was interesting to hear what our neighboring districts are working toward. That was the first time ever that we've done that, so it was really good. AVUSD was also able to participate in our first meeting with Burnham to hear about our healthcare options. We are hopeful to bring more healthcare options to our members. We also have 2 of our exec board members that have put in their candidacy for a state position to represent not only our local, but our state at the national level if elected to those positions. Out of the meeting with Burnham as well, I was able to have a couple of great conversations with Nick, the CSEA president. AVUDA hopes to continue to build the relationship between us and CSEA. I attended more inspiring meetings with principals and site reps. Finally, I was able to visit Miss Kurt's dance class, Mr. Churchill's choir class, and attend Granite Hill's play, Shakespeare's Much to Do About Nothing. I was amazed at the great talent at Granite. I was beyond impressed with the talent of the actors and actresses in the play. I look forward to seeing the sunshine in February, even though the groundhog says that's not going to happen. But remember, I don't see shadows. In solidarity, Karen.
And now we're going to have some comments from our superintendent, Renee.
There we go. Wasn't going to come on. I do want to commend all of the students for their presentations. We learn something every time you show up here to tell us about your schools. And so much appreciated. And Angelique, we always wait for the lesson of what it's going to be about this month. So I appreciate that too. Monday, several of us attended the San Bernardino County School Board Association meeting where they were honoring Mr. So for his achievement and support and service in the association and as CSBA delegate. 29 years in our system. And I loved watching Mrs. Buchanan and Miss Okpara flank him for a photo with arms around each other, which absolutely shows the value of dignity and community. And so I think, as you go for election as an elected official and you can see these people stand next to each other after competing for a position and still care about each other and celebrate each other, that's huge. And so I just, it was one of those powerful moments when I looked at it and thought, look at this. That wouldn't happen a lot of places, but that happens in Apple Valley. We had a wonderful presentation at the Greater High Desert Chamber yesterday that involved many staff members within the district that present under CTE, so our career technical education. It was all wrapped around our JPA called the Mountain Desert Career Pathways. So they presented to the business community about how kids come out of our education system prepared for work and all of the things, the pathways that kids have access to. Along with the collaboration with BBC and all of the students that are gaining college credit as they are going through high school. Likewise, Dreamers, Visionaries, and Leaders presentation to Ms. Okpara was wonderful, even after quite a delay because of rain. We were there at Victor Valley College to a packed house, watching 3 incredible people be recognized. And although Maria had a wonderful recognition, I think we were all paused by a 100-year-old woman who was receiving an award for the arts in our community. And she walked up on stage, up a set of stairs, and we all thought, that's where we want to be when we're 100 years old. Mock trial has concluded. Our students went down the hill to Ontario, those that could make it. I will tell you that Mr. Goodrow went over Crestline. Miss Burke took her team over Crestline in a van. I got turned around after an hour and 45 minutes trying to get there through a different pathway, and they got awards, and we were thrilled that they made it down. I don't think that Granite was quite so lucky with all the students, but we had our students recognized, and that's always wonderful. Apple Valley High School placed in the Mountain Desert region, and we know that it's always a building process, but if you've never seen mock trial in action, you ought to take it in because it's pretty cool to watch these kids defend and look at the law and give all of the reasons why they believe their case should be heard the way it is. Last week, we held the state of the district, and we were appreciative of the ability to share the goals and happenings within the district with our community. Likewise, the District Advisory Parents Committee was here earlier this week, and we did the beginning of the cycle of data and goal review with the stakeholders. Every school was represented. Every school has a parent group along with our district English learner advisory group. Next week, we have the student advisories, as was mentioned, and we're looking forward to that. It's always eye-opening. We're excited about what was the outcome at both Apple Valley High School and at High Desert Premier. Both had plans and took leadership roles and presented those to their administrative teams on how to improve things going on their campuses. And so your voice does matter. And sometimes asking just one question changes the dynamic of what you're doing on your campus. So thank you for your involvement. And then apparently, Angelique didn't school me up on the fact that last month was School Board Member Appreciation Month. And since we're super close to that date, I'm going to tell you that we will do better, but we will appreciate you along with all staff in May as well. Next week is National School Counselor Appreciation Week. And as you know, there's probably some national appreciation going on in our system that we could recognize pretty much every week. But we do like to recognize those things. So if you see a school counselor next week, tell them thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bender.
Okay, board comments, Rick?
Sure, thank you. Just a couple of shout outs tonight. I want to thank Desert Knolls, High Desert Premier, Granite, and Apple Valley. You guys really do a good job of speaking. And Angelique, Daniel, you keep stepping it up every time. You're going to be a very good public speaker. So you should maybe look into a future in maybe politics. So you do a really good job. I really appreciate the things that you say, and you say it with such passion. Thank you. And then I want to shout out too to Maria for her award. I follow you on Facebook, and you were kind of getting after me in closed session that I look at Facebook too much, but I see what you're up to all the time. You are everywhere, so keep it up. You do a good job. So that's all I have tonight.
Amanda?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to reiterate to Maria your award. Just thank you so much for, allowing me to come and cheer you on. They did this wonderful video presentation on her, and it was very powerful. So I'm really glad I could be there. And it was so packed. Like, you could not walk through the lobby because it was just shoulder to shoulder, but everybody was having a great time. So while we waited, because there was some rain delays. I had the opportunity to go to one of Granite's soccer games, and those girls, man, are out there in shorts. And I screenshot it. It was like 43 degrees when I left. And I don't know how they do it, but they did it, and smile on their face. And it was great. And you guys ended up, was it league champs? Yes? Okay. I think I saw that. So congratulations. And then I also had the opportunity of going to the Shakespeare play, Much Ado About Nothing. And yeah, Shakespeare's hard. Anybody who's ever read Shakespeare knows Shakespeare's hard. And just to watch these kids get on stage and really take on the role, they had the audience. We were rolling a few times. It was great. And then the SBC BSA. Yes. San Bernardino County School Board Association meeting on Monday night. Mr. So came in and he sat right next to me in between Maria and I, and it was a very nice evening, and I was really glad I could be there to watch. He's a legend. Everybody in that room walked around. They knew who he was. They wanted to take pictures and shake his hand, and I was very blessed to be able to sit next to him and have him tell me lots of stories from his tenure sitting up here. And then finally, yesterday evening, I got to go to the district's spelling bee, which was so awesome. So the kids were grades 1 through 8, and there were some words that I could not have spelled, and I'm an English teacher. But every kid should be so proud of themselves. And it was so fantastic to see the teachers and the principals cheering them on and pep talking beforehand. And I don't know who it was. Somebody made him spell the word awesome in the audience. And I was like, that's fantastic for right before they start. So I'm excited to see everything else that's going on in the district, but I would say the staff and the students, keep it up. You guys are really rocking it out there. That was it. Sorry. I'm done.
That's good.
Okay.
Gary?
I would just echo kind of those same sentiments, especially with regard to the Shakespeare play here at Granite. It really was impressive. Just first of all, for the kids to memorize so many lines, but so many lines of Shakespeare. It was quite impressive. So really congratulations to the students, to the teachers, to the parents too, because I know the parents spent a lot of time building the sets and that type of thing. And it's just what we saw, the excellence that we saw in that play is really just a microcosm of what happens throughout the entire district in terms of extracurricular activities, in terms of band, in terms of athletics, and then of course in terms of academics. So and again, another congratulations to you student representatives. That's kind of the highlight of our board meeting. We always enjoy hearing you guys come up and just share with us the fantastic things which is going on your campuses, which is really a testament to you and to your parents and to your teachers. So just like Amanda said, thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. It really shows, and let's keep on going. Thank you.
Okay. Maria?
It's so hard to take all of this in, especially when I do things not because I want somebody to acknowledge, but I do things because it is the right thing to do. I'm going to start by thanking all of the parents who have had a hand in all of these young people that came and spoke to us today. Sometimes we tend to forget that they do things, but they're the ones that stay up at night. They're the ones that make sure that the homework is done. They're the ones that make sure their kids go to school with a full belly and they go to bed with a full belly. I thank you so much for what you do as parents. And I am so proud of you, the students, for doing the great things that you do to showcase your different schools. We could have come to see you in other places, but you come to see us. And we make sure that we give you our time. Secondly, I would like to thank the teachers for encouraging the students to be the best they could be. And I've always maintained that you should never be satisfied to be on the ground. The ground is not your final destination. You should always look up and see how far you can go once your feet hit the ground and to start the trajectory. Yes, I got the recognition by DVL. It took me forever to figure out what D was. I knew every other word, the other part of the acronym, but the D was a hard one for me to remember. And I was very reluctant to participate because it is hard to talk about yourself. I prefer to talk about everything else but myself, but I was forced to talk about myself. So I was forced to tell my story. And everybody here has a story. And I hope you never forget that story, because it is that story that makes you who you are down the road when you go back and look at where you came from. So I am so proud to say it's the month of Black History Month. And I always say I am Black 365 days in a year. And so I'm not Black just in February. So I have the 365 days in a year that I celebrate who I am. And I'm proud to say who I am. And I hope each and every one of you is proud of who you are and never have somebody have to change it for you. Over the weekend, I had an opportunity to go to a presentation that was called the Black Empowerment Committee or meeting. And I have to use this opportunity to thank one of our Apple Valley High School students who came out and did not have to be there. But she came so she can take pictures. And her name is Samantha Pulido. I've never met her, but she came up to me to introduce herself to me. And I thought, how proud could I possibly be that I'm sitting in this large crowd and one person from Apple Valley is here showcasing the best that we have. And I have to say thank you to Samantha She did not know I was going to recognize her today, but she managed to give me her name, so I took it down. I figured I'll share it. Yes, we went down to San Bernardino to celebrate Mr. So. I've always been proud of Mr. So because he is all about the children. It's all about what is best for our kids. So, and he's taught me quite a bit. So to go and hear from everybody else in the county celebrating this one man that sat next to me for 4 years was the best gift he could have left me. So I have that, I carry that in my heart. So I thank you all for recognizing who we are, what we stand for, and just remember that if you are walking into a place and you are going to a river and there's no water in it, then you have missed the boat. You need a river that somebody is in, and the only way you can look at it is how do you pay attention to your elders. So listen to your elders and make sure you learn as much as you can, because you don't want that river to be empty when the elders are gone. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I just like to ditto everything they said, but especially I'd like to congratulate you young people. I mean, what you're doing, believe me, you ask an adult, the biggest phobia they have is speaking in front of other people. You're starting out at a young age, and you got $1 million smile, so you can buy your way through it. But I'm serious. It's something that you carry with you, and you might have to just talk on your feet with no prep, and that's the way it is. So we'll call it an end right here, and you guys can all go home and have a snack and enjoy your evening. Thank you. All right. The clerk will read out any action taken in closed session. Maria?
In closed session, the Board of Trustees took action in support of the following recommendation from the superintendent. Public employee discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment, transfer. On a motion by Mr. R.C., seconded by Mr. Raleigh, the Board of Trustees approved the following. Approve the compromise and release agreement between the Apple Valley Unified School District and employee number 0550 on a vote of 5-0. In closed session, the Board of Trustees took action in support of the following recommendation from the superintendent. On a motion by Mr. Raleigh, seconded by Mr. Bender, a vote of 5-0, the Board of Trustees approved the following. Appoint Kimberly Calvin as Transportation Supervisor, Range 48, Column 1, on the non-exempt classified supervisory and confidential salary schedule, 256 paid days, effective February 6, 2023.
Ms. Okpara, she's at the back of the room.
Congratulations.
Sorry.
Thank you. In closed session, the Board of Trustees took action in support of the following recommendation from the superintendent on a motion by Mr. R.C., seconded by Mr. Raleigh. The Board of Trustees approved the following. They approved the memorandum of understanding with the California School Employees Association, Chapter number 828, dated January 31st, 2023, regarding an increase of hours effective February 1, 2023, pending ratification by CSEA on a vote of 5-0. That's it.
All right, thank you. Adoption of the agenda, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, there's no recognition presentation tonight. Information on the governor's budget proposal. Mr. Schulenberg.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bender. The board, you do have a paper copy of the presentation at your seats. And if I can figure out this new operating system to get my presentation up on, thank you, on the screens. And put my glasses on so I can see it. All right, thank you. So I had the opportunity to attend the school services budget workshop with Karen and her crew. And I'm going to summarize what was about a 3-hour workshop down to hopefully about just a few minutes. The first disclaimer, you will notice the school services logo on this particular slide. These are all slides produced by school services, with a couple slightly modified to reflect the impact to Apple Valley Unified. But they produced this, and this is an excerpt of their larger presentation. So first off, the themes for the budget. As Karen said, the governor has really dedicated a lot of resources to education to keep education whole, or as whole as he possibly could through this budget cycle. California, of course, is a little bit better prepared, but on this slide, I'd just like to point out that last bullet. As bare bones as it is, the governor did balance his budget using some one-time funding for ongoing expenditures. And in the school district budget world, that's a no-no. One-time money only comes to you once. And if that expenditure is ongoing, the next year that expenditure is going to be there and that revenue is not going to be there to support it. So he's got some things going on in the budget. Of course, this was just his initial proposal, so things will certainly change. The state budget, of course, they are projecting a fairly, I think the governor used the term modest, $22.5 billion deficit. I don't consider that too modest myself, but he did find a way to cut some programs and save education. And the bullet point there, through some funding delays, reductions, and pullbacks and fund shifts. And that's what happens a lot at the state level. They move some things around. They get fancy with our Prop 98 funding. So what the governor did do in his proposal, he's kind of accounting for an economic slowdown, not calling anything a recession, even though there are some economists talking about a recession, maybe end of 23 into 24. But the governor and the legislative analyst office in the Department of Finance up in Sacramento, none of them are considering a recession in any of the short-term multi-year budget forecasts. So Prop 98, just some points. So Prop 98 is a portion of the state budget that flows to education. And like Ms. Sabers said, he did maintain the purchasing power of the local control funding formula, our largest funding source, pledging to fully fund the cost of living adjustment, the COLA. It's currently projected to be a little over 8%. There are still a couple data points that need to come in to refine that, and we'll probably get a closer number at the May revision in the next budget cycle. He did remain very committed to universal transitional kindergarten. And also, I'll talk about it a little bit later, he introduced a concept of what's called an equity multiplier within the LCFF to address some learning and achievement gaps for our most needy students. But the one thing that he did propose that's kind of controversial is in our current budget year, we received the Arts, Education, and Music Block Grant funding. It's a pool of one-time money that flowed to school districts across the state. We have several years to spend it, and he has proposed pulling some of that funding back that school districts have already budgeted, either this or in the out years in their budget cycles. So he proposed to pull some of that back and is using that to fund the LCFF. That's that one-time money that he shifted over to LCFF. So again, this is all subject to negotiation, and much of it will change or kind of evolve as we get into the May revise and the approved budget. One great thing, he didn't come up with a lot of new categorical programs this year because he doesn't have a lot of extra money. Anytime the state has a lot of extra money, they create some programs for us with strings attached. Just a quick slide. The blue there is the Legislative Analyst's Office. They're a nonpartisan kind of a budget advisory group up in Sacramento. That's their fiscal outlook compared to the governor's budget outlook. You see, the governor's budget outlook is a little more optimistic than the LAO. And typically what happens is it ends up being somewhere in between those two as we move forward. So that's just a quick little picture. He's a little more optimistic than the LAO. With the LCFF, again, he did propose to fully fund the statutory COLA. I mentioned that, the equity multiplier, no categorical programs, no new categorical programs, but he is proposing the cost of living adjustment on some of our existing categorical programs, which has not been consistent throughout the year. Sometimes they get the COLA, sometimes they don't. The equity multiplier. The equity multiplier is in response to a bill that was introduced within the last couple of years to really target some of our lowest performing student groups and our lowest performing schools in the state to get a little more funding into those schools. That particular bill did not come through in its true form, but the governor did propose this. He dedicated about $300 million, and that's $300 million across the entire state to the lowest performing schools. And in order to qualify for this money, at an elementary school, you have to have 90% of your students qualify for free lunch, not free and reduced, but free lunch. And at your high schools, you have to have 85% of your students qualify for free lunch. Well, last Friday, I got to attend a little workshop with school services, and they've been running some numbers throughout the state. And within Apple Valley Unified, we would not currently have any schools that would qualify for any of this funding under the equity multiplier. We don't have students meeting those thresholds that qualify for free meals. Free and reduced, we would have a couple sites, but you'd have to take out those reduced, the kids that only qualify for the reduced meals. So, and this is another thing that will probably change greatly between now and budget adoption. Quick snapshot of the LCFF funding factors. You can see it's different for each grade span. TK is kind of the same as K3, but there's an additional add-on for the additional staffing requirements under transitional kindergarten. And that's just a snapshot. But what that all boils down to is really important on this slide. This slide really is our projected LCFF revenue. Now, that's not all the revenue we get. We have some other categorical programs. We have federal revenues, but that's our largest revenue from the state. And currently, with our projected ADA next year and the proposed LCFF funding at this point, we would get about $179 million. That's an increase over the current year, of course. Some of the pressures to our budget, retirement contributions for our employee groups. That's something that you see in the last 10 years. It's increased from 8.25% up to 19.1%. So that's more than doubled over the last 10 years on the CalSTRS side. CalSTRS doesn't have the same power as CalPERS does to make adjustments to that rate. They're a little more legislated. And right now it's frozen at 19.1, but school services does believe that there will be some legislation introduced in the near future to give CalSTRS a little more flexibility as CalPERS does. So CalPERS, the current rate this year is 25.37, and you'll see on the right-hand side, it's projected to continue to rise over the next few years. And that's really due to some investment losses that they've experienced over the last couple of years in their investment portfolios. This is just a little slide to remind us all that the governor's taking some of this money back. This is that art, music, and instructional material block grant that was proposed funding reduction. You'll see it was proportioned out. Half the money has been apportioned to schools already, and the other half is scheduled to be apportioned in May of 2023. Now, that apportionment is going to occur before the state adopts their final budget. So if this occurs, if this is a part of the adopted budget, we're already going to have all that money. So they're going to reduce other apportionments in kind to make up for the money that they gave us under this particular block growth program. So it's going to be a little cash shell game at the state level. Ultimately, we would probably lose about $1.2 million out of this block grant if this does go through. And Universal Transitional Kindergarten. He is very, very dedicated to the UTK and early childhood education. This is just a slide to remind us that we are in year 2 of a 4-year implementation process, or actually maybe we're in year 3 of a 5-year. I can't remember. It's been a couple of years already, but in 25-26, you'll see that we will be required to offer transitional kindergarten to all 4-year-olds whose 4th birthday occurs by September 1st. So when we start school in August, we will have some 3-year-olds joining us in our transitional kindergarten classrooms just before their 4th birthday. Prop 28. The voters in California approved Proposition 28 in the last general election, which sets aside about $1 billion statewide non-Prop 98 money to support arts music in schools. So I haven't seen a lot of details on how much this means to us yet, but again, this is that voter proposition which will provide some more specific funding for arts and music education to further supplement the programs we already have in place. And just a couple slides here on some federal funding. They did approve the Consolidated Appropriations Act, which does supply federal funding through September of 2023. So just some summary slides. You have those copies. I don't think I'm going to read the details on there, but it's good news for education in terms of Title I and special education support from the federal level. And that concludes. I hope that wasn't more than a few minutes.
That was well done.
Thank you.
AVUSD reopener articles for negotiation. Dustin Conrad.
It's AVUSD first, and then yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Nelson, and the rest of the cabinet up there. My name is Leslie McNenly, and I'm currently serving as the bargaining chair for AVUTA. As you'll recall, we settled our 3-year contract last fall, and it's now time to reopen some of our articles for year 2 of the contract. We surveyed our members about what their concerns were, and the vast majority of the input related to being able to serve our students better. In the folders you've received as, are our initial proposals to reopen Articles 13, which pertains to hours and adjunct duties, and 17, which pertains to class size. As background for our request with Article 13, at the beginning of each year, we have 2 work days before the first student day, but one of those days is reserved for our administrators' meetings or trainings. The district provides 1 paid day for teachers to work in their classrooms to prepare for the new year. Many of our teachers invest a week or even more of their summer to prepare for their classes. And at some sites, some teachers have not been allowed to enter their classrooms prior to the weekend before students start, which increases their stress level in a big way. Regarding Article 17, I'm sure it comes as no surprise that we're still recovering from the impact that the pandemic has had on our schools. We're dealing with learning loss, and to complicate matters, we have higher than normal attendance issues, as well as increased socio-emotional and behavioral issues. Our current large class sizes make it more difficult to reach our academic goals. We're looking for some help in that area. We appreciate the willingness of the school board to work with us as you did last fall, and are hopeful that we can work together again to overcome some of these obstacles. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Dustin, you have the AVUSD reopener?
I have AVUSDs. I apologize for the name there that I put there to mix up earlier. I didn't want to speak on Leslie's behalf. That's too intimidating, and you can tell with the prep work that, you know, they've demonstrated. So I appreciate that, Leslie. Thank you. One quick note. I know the negotiation season is upon us with AVUSD, and, you know, Leslie and I have discussed some things, and we've really and Karen as well. We've established some, I think, some relationships that will allow us to move forward this season with a little bit more on the interest-based side of collaboration throughout the processes. But all that to say, you know, we have also opened 2 articles. Article 13. 13 for us is the consideration of just cleaning up some language. We have MOUs out there that haven't been totally married into the contract. We look to do that and offer some clarity on language as well. We also opened Article 15, which is our leaves article. And really what we are looking for there is something that we believe currently in our system, barriers exist for some of our best employees out there. Those that accrue time, have time, and yet contract doesn't quite let them reach out and grab some of that time. So we're looking to have honest and open conversation with AVUSD and perhaps come to some agreement that allows our teachers, all of our certificated staff to have access to time they've earned that currently is out of reach for them. And we, again, could bring details to the table and kind of discuss what that looks like, how that's handled, and bring it forward to them. So those are the 2 areas that we're looking to open and negotiate, and I think we'll have a great time.
Okay, all right, thank you. Kylie, do we have any public comments?
We have 4 cards this evening.
As provided on our public comment card, speakers are required to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. If more than one person wishes to speak on the same topic, subsequent speakers should limit their remarks to new information only. Public comments shall be limited to a max of 20 minutes per item. First is Kathy Baron. All right, thank you.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Nelson. I'm not as prepared as everybody else is, so thank you for your time. I'm a parent of a first grader over at Rio Vista, and Rick, I guess I'm going to have to ask for some time with you at some point. I hear that you're the one that's in charge over there. What's happened is in about 2 weeks ago, they sent out a correspondence to the parents there and said, for those of us that lived on the north side of the school area, we are to no longer park over in the main area and come and pick up our children from the cafeteria. And instead, they are going to move all of our children that would normally come out of the cafeteria, all of our young children, to the bike gate. The bike gate empties out onto Yakaloma. Yakaloma, as everybody probably knows, is almost like a highway. And I walked over there and I looked at it and I watched all of the kids walk out of there, and there's no proctors. There's one proctor that stands down at where the crosswalk is, and all of the kids come running out and they all run across the street. And I'm going, okay, the road is going to be opening up here pretty soon, and this is asking for these children to get hit. There's no safety there, and I'm not willing to have my first grader do that. So I went into the office and I talked to them. I said, I am absolutely not going to have you do that. I'm not going to allow my child to come out of the bike gate. And they said, well, then you have to go into the line. And I said, I don't have time. I'm an executive. I don't have time to go into this line. I need to walk up and pick up my son. Well, you can't do that either. Okay, let me talk to somebody. The administrator doesn't want to talk to me either. I've talked to her. I'm not getting anywhere. So I'm here now to please talk to you guys about, we need to have some safety here in our schools. These children need to not be coming out onto a very busy and I'll just put this in quotations, highway, because it is going to become a highway. It is not there yet. It's going to be opening, and that road is very dangerous. I cross that road with my car all the time where, you know, the light will change and people go through it just because we're in the high desert, and a stoplight, I'm sorry, is just a suggestion. I'm sure you've all gone through a light and had somebody zing right through that light just because, you know, they don't care. They don't care around here because there's not a lot of cops. God love them. So please, I implore you, please help us with the safety of our children.
All right, thanks for your input.
Thank you.
Mr. Schulenberg will look into this.
Yeah, ma'am, we'll have somebody from the superintendent's office contact you,
Yeah.
and I'd be willing to meet with you as well.
Jackie, Merrill? Huh? More?
Jackie Moore, I was here before regarding Vanguard School, and it's not gotten any better. Now there's legal things going on. There's lawyers, there's investigations, there's no transparency. Example, all the parents wanted to work on the turtle sanctuary and fix it. It's Vanguard's turtle sanctuary, and we keep asking and asking and asking, and the principal will never answer the question. She will never tell us anything about it, what she's doing. Oh, I'm looking into it. Now I find out the students from the high school are coming to change and fix that sanctuary. Why? It's not theirs, it's ours. That's just one little way she does things. Now, I'm really here because I signed a paper for my daughter to go, and I can't get anywhere until Jeremiah talked to me today. I found out today. On the 17th, my daughter, I signed a paper for her to go on a field trip. And I let her go, much as I didn't want to, down the hill and in the fog and in the weather. But she went. And then I couldn't find her. And then I find out at the beginning of the year, I had a meeting with all the teachers, my daughter's teachers, principal, and set the rules down and said, my daughter must abide by with you, do what is expected of you, learn from them because they went to school, respect them. And I put it down hard. And I said, but here's one thing I'm telling you. I don't do computers. I barely do cell phones. I have a landline. You may use my landline and you may use my cell phone at any time. Well, when I couldn't find my daughter, didn't know what was going on, I found out they didn't go to Banning to a camp. They went someplace else, and Jeremiah told me today that they went to Yucaipa to a Girl Scout camp. But who gave them permission to take my daughter someplace else without my consent? And the principal over and over and over on a phone conversation to me told me 7 times to 9 times, well, you were given notice on Area Portal. Our parent portal. I said, I don't do it, and you know it. Your secretaries know it, your office knows it, and the teachers know it. I didn't know where the heck my daughter was. And if there'd have been an accident in Yucaipa where she was, I wouldn't have worried because my daughter was in Banning, but she wasn't. And I didn't give anybody permission to take my child there, and I didn't get a phone call. Can you imagine my fear? I shook for hours trying to figure out what was going on. I don't like it. There is no transparency. And again, I'm telling you, I'm warning you, there's a lot of trouble coming at Vanguard. You need to find out that it doesn't fit. Now, the one thing I can say is we have a principal here. I saw her, Miss Benavides. She's awesome. She was my daughter's principal at the other school. But I told you, the other principal at Vanguard doesn't do anything. Miss Benavides is out there every day. Every day I admire her with the kids, rain, wind, snow, anything. She's out there every day, letting the kids out of the cars and putting them in every day. I admire that. At our school, we have nothing. We have nothing. No, these kids that all talked about what is going on in their school, we have nothing. There's nothing positive. Teachers are going out on stress. They want transfers, and it's a mess. And I'm really upset about what happened with my daughter, and I want someone to look into it and tell me why. And don't tell me that you got notified on Area Portal, because I had 2 phones. So I filed a formal complaint because I'm very upset about it. And I imagine you would too with your children. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Leah Ten Hunsel. Thank you, Leah.
My name is Leah Tenholzen. I have two children that attend Vanguard Preparatory. I'm not very well spoken. I'm slightly
You're doing a good
prepared.
job.
So
Yeah.
thank you. So as I said, my name is Leah Tenholzen. I have two children at Vanguard Preparatory. On January 24th, there was an incident regarding my youngest daughter, who is 5 years old and in kindergarten. It had to do with a proctor, and it is currently under investigation. What I'm bringing right now doesn't necessarily have to do with that, but with the dealings of the principal there and her lack of ability. And so I did prepare a statement. I am calling for the immediate resignation and removal of Principal Jeanette Martinez. Throughout the time I've been at Vanguard, I've witnessed and been told of Ms. Martinez's lack of competency and dereliction of duties. As a principal of this school, she is unable to resolve conflict, which is evident through her lack of effort and ability to properly handle situations, as we just previously heard in what I spoke about with my daughter. She denies the content of verbal conversations, claims that she does not receive emails, and if she does, that they are blank. She has spoken disparagingly about the parents and school employees who have brought up issues, stating that the issues brought up were rumors, even to the point to where when you are trying to tell her about an eyewitness account that you yourself saw, she tells you to your face that it's rumors, that, for instance, the women at the front desk have big mouths and that they don't like her, which is not the case. So parents who are trying to report concerns, whether abuse or safety issues that they were eyewitness to. On more than one occasion, she has pulled parents into her office and told them not to report or speak about things that they have seen on campus. Upon my reply to her to an email, that conversation back and forth concerning the investigation that is ongoing at this point, she responded in a way that was misleading in the fact that she made it seem as if she had no recollection of what she was talking to. Although at the time I had sent her an in-depth email, had spoken to her face-to-face, and she had called me. So she was privy to the issues and concerns that I had. Ms. Martinez's actions have been misleading and deceitful. She will skirt her responsibilities, including student safety, and throw anyone under the bus to remain secure in her current position. Since this is not an isolated event and she has repeatedly taken measures to deceive students, parents, staff, and this board, it's obvious that her conduct and actions cannot be corrected with training. This is an issue of integrity. Ms. Martinez has lost the trust and confidence of the parents and students a long time ago, and now is the time to give our children a safe environment to soar. And the issue that is being investigated at this time, it does have to do with a proctor being physical with my daughter. However, her lack of handling of this situation is leading to a bigger issue. The fact that she is incapable of resolving something in the correct way. I need to know that my children can go to that school and be safe. That I'm not having to worry about someone outside, but someone within, that my kids aren't safe and that I can't trust her judgment or lack thereof. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. And the last one is Leslie McNeely. Oh, fine, excuse me. All right, we're all done. We appreciate your comments. Any other comments, Superintendent?
Just that I see Ella Hausman out in the audience, and we realize that you have moved on to bigger and better things, but I can't sit here and see you out there and not let the board know that you're sitting there. Must be doing a college class. Is that correct, Nathan? You too? Yeah.
Good to see you again. All right, thank you. Any other comments from the board? Rick?
No, this gentleman there, did you have a comment card you put in? You came in at 5 and you were filling a card out, so.
Yeah, I did some research and found out that my question needs to be directed at a higher level.
Okay.
Because, as I said before, English training test to.
Okay, I just saw you there and I knew you were talking to Kylie earlier. When I missed you.
Amanda, any other comments?
No, I'm good.
Gary?
Just a comment on a later item on the consent agenda. Item number 10 on the consent agenda deals with the adoption of the math foundation for Granite Hills High School. And I just want to congratulate and commend the staff and the administration of put together that document. We hear a lot about the deficiencies that our students have because of learning loss and that type of thing. And I just want to say that I was very impressed in reading through that document, because that proposed course for Granite Hills is exactly what our students need in terms of increasing their math scores. If we were to take a survey here in this room, I know that every hand would go up that math was your favorite class in school when you were in school. But that's not necessarily the case now. And I was just, like I say, I was very impressed and very pleased to see the teachers and the administrators in conjunction with Pat put together this course, because I think it's exactly what Granite needs. I think it's exactly what the rest of our district needs is very proactive, forward-thinking planning to actually address learning deficiencies. So I just like to congratulate Mr. Slosher, the students and staff at Granite Hills. I think that's a fantastic idea, and hopefully we'll be seeing more of that in the future. Thank you.
All right, Maria?
I'm going to start by thanking High Desert Premier Academy and Vanguard for finally sending me an invitation to come. Finally. And secondly, it would be really good for the schools to, I don't have any more kids in the schools, so I don't know when you have your events until after you announce it at a board meeting. But if you can put out a calendar of your events so that we can at least show up for those of us who don't have kids anymore in the district, but would like to come in and support your students and support your programs. Thank you.
All right, good. To expedite the meeting, I'm not going to say anything. Conduct a public hearing on AVUSD reopener articles for negotiation with AVUSD. Is there a time we're going to open up at 58? 8:08. We have to have this open for 1 minute. That's the law. Is there anyone present who wishes to provide comments on the AVUSD reopeners? That looks like a minute. If there are no oral comments, I will now, at 8:09. All right, we need to conduct a public hearing on AVUSD's reopener articles for negotiation with AVUSD. Okay, we're going to open the meeting. The time is going to be 1:10, 8:10.
I think it's still 8:09.
All right. Does anyone have any comments on this? Because we have to be open for a solid minute. Well, if there are no oral comments, I will now declare the public hearing closed, and the time will be 8:11. All right, so we'll move on here. Approve the certificated and classified personnel articles as listed. Do I have a motion? Any discussion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve the recommendations for requested leaves as noted. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Approve the district contract for reopeners for negotiation between the Apple Valley Unified School District and the Apple Valley Unified Teachers Association. Second? All right. All in favor? Aye. Approve the recommendation of the administrative hearing chairperson effective on expulsion case number 11, 2022 through 23.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Expulsion case stipulated number 3, 2022 through 23. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Annual review AR 9, 2022 through 23. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Annual review AR number 10, 2022 through 23. A motion? Second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Acknowledge receipt and review of the 2021-22 audit report as prepared by Nigro and Nigro PC. Motion? Second?
There is a discussion.
Oh,
Yeah.
discussion, okay.
I have some discussion, if that's okay, Mr. Bender,
No,
before you take a vote on this,
I'm happy
just
for
in
you to
case.
take over right
I'll,
here.
I'll take a quick minute. First off, I want to acknowledge there was an error on page 60 in the audit. It incorrectly illustrated the ends of the terms for you, Mr. Bender and Mr. Raleigh. It will be corrected, and that particular error is not material to the content of the audit report, but my apologies.
Okay,
So this audit is basically, it's an independent auditor. They give their independent opinion of our financial statements and determine compliance with state and federal programs. The copy of the audit was attached to the board packet. I apologize, I do not have the bound copies from the auditor to hand out tonight, but I will have those in the near future. Some page numbers are referenced here. If you look through those, a summary of their report is on pages 1 through 3, and they gave us an unmodified opinion, which is a good thing. It's a clean audit, a clean opinion as to our financial statements and our compliance with federal and state standards. There's a management's discussion and analysis on the next 7 pages, 4 through 10, and it's really kind of it's a readable summary of kind of our financial statements. And if you have the opportunity to look at the budget, I would point you to table A3 on page 7. That's a comparison of current year and previous year fund balances, and you'll see the difference year over year. And they have a little discussion on the 22-23 budget cycle in there as from the auditor's perspective. Our government-wide financial statements cover pages 11 through 50. That's the meat of the audit report, but most of that is really notes to explain what all the charts, what the few pages of charts and tables mean related to our financials. And again, I'm just taking a quick minute here. There's some supplementary information on pages 51 through 67. You'll see a list of things there that we have to report in our financials, but aren't necessarily a fiscal impact in our normal operating procedures, like our OPEB liability, like our net pension liability. Those are things we have to book as liabilities, but it's not necessarily an expense for us in operating. The meat of the audit is really findings and question costs. And I'm happy to report in our financial statements and our federal awards, we had none. We were clean in those programs per our independent auditor. Unfortunately, we did have a couple state award findings. The first one, it was kind of interesting. We overstated our ADA at P2 by 1.19. And typically, previously, the state would allow us to make adjustments to our P2 and annual ADA if they were not certified yet. But the state switched over the standard account code structure software, the SAC software, from the previous module to a new online version. And what they did is they decided to lock districts out of making those changes after a certain date. So even though these were discovered during the audit, we attempted to correct them prior to the completion of the audit, but the state would not allow us. Hence, it becomes a finding with a fiscal impact of about $15,000 of apportionment. In past years, that wouldn't even have appeared. We would have corrected it. It would have been taken care of. And our second finding was merely our ELOG, our Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant monies that we received. We were required to submit the plan within 5 days of board approval. We submitted it on the 8th day. So they have to give us a finding, even though there is absolutely no financial impact. Any questions?
No, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I need a motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Delegate authority to the Assistant Superintendent Administrative Services to execute the agreement of all necessary amendments with the California Professional Management for construction management services for the Granite Hills High School athletic facility.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Grant authorization to the Assistant Superintendent Administrative Services to issue the notice of intent to award the execute contract documents and issue notice to proceed with the fire alarm upgrades project at Sycamore Rocks in Yucca-Loma. Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is a consent agenda. It is recommended that the board approve all the items in one vote. It'll be 1 through 21. Do I have a motion? Okay, a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We don't need a second closed session. So it looks like the only thing we have left is, I need a motion to adjourn. Come on, second?
I'll second.
Yeah, you want to be here all night? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
I was just curious how long we could go.
Well, it won't be long with me. Thank you for coming. This is a fine display of democracy. It really is. What this country's all about. Thank you.